Coming up on AgWeek TV, we'll talk to an expert on how producers can minimize risk. The drought is easing and crops are looking up for some farmers in the upper Midwest. Commodity groups from around the country talk about what they'd like to see in the new Farm Bill. And we cover all things Dakota Fest here in Mitchell, South Dakota. Welcome to AgWeek TV. I'm Emily Beal. This week we're coming to you from Dakota Fest in Mitchell, South Dakota. This year Dakota Fest has nearly 500 exhibits focused on agriculture, along with educational and political learning sessions and panel discussions about various hot-button topics in the ag industry and much more. One of the topics at Dakota Fest was how farmers and ranchers can mitigate risk. Joining me now to discuss the topic is Chad Deloe. So Chad, what are some of the risks that farmers and ranchers are currently facing?
You know, probably the biggest risk today with inflation moving up like it has is just having the proper amount of coverage on their equipment, their homes, their machinery, things of that nature. Over the last several years, the costs of those have increased substantially. If they are not doing regular farm reviews with their agents and getting the proper coverage, sometimes they don't find out until they have that claim and they realize they don't have near the coverage on that piece of property that they should have.
So what can farmers, producers, and ranchers do to help mitigate that risk?
You know, I think, again, just knowing what your equipment is worth and getting it insured for that proper amount, so at the time you have that loss, you have the coverage for it. You know, one of the things at our company we stress is just having a regular farm review with your agent and just kind of going step by step through some of those items and seeing what the market is today.
And in your opinion, how can farm safety help you not only with your health, but also save you money?
You know, just educating hired hands. As farms grow, we see more and more hired hands. Some aren't near as familiar with the operation as others are. Some of our most successful farms spend the time to do safety courses with their employees and really learn about things like you do. An example of that is just things like keeping shields on property, just understanding some of the dangers that are around, you know, like corn heads or bean heads and things like that, and shutting machines down before you do repairs. You know, it seems like common sense, but it's amazing how many times people will let a combine run. Well, maybe they unplug a piece of it or something like that. A lot of times nothing happens, but the time it does happen can be pretty severe. So just using that common sense and thinking safety first no matter what you do.
Well, it is certainly an important topic on the farm, and thank you so much for joining us, Chad.
You bet. I appreciate the time.
What a difference a few weeks and a few inches of rain can make. We take a look around the region in this week's AgWeek cover story. Drought conditions are looking dramatically better for many growers who have received several inches of 1 to 5 inches of rain since early August. A majority of west central Minnesota now shows optimal or excess soil moisture. Jack Sharp says the rains came just in time to save his soybean crop on his farm near Monaga.
For 10 days, 2 weeks ago, the leaves would have been all rolled and they looked like they're dying, the beans. But then at night they'd pop back up a little, and now with 3 inches of rain, they're looking pretty dang good, I think, for what they went through.
Across South Dakota, drought conditions have improved, but there are still some dry areas. Extension feedlot specialist Warren Rushi says with these conditions, hay production, especially in eastern South Dakota, was very short, and more producers are having to cut silage to build up their livestock feed supply.
It's been incredibly variable this year in terms of when and where and how much we've received rainfall. It started in western South Dakota. Oddly enough, they're usually one of the places that's drier. They were in better shape most of the year. Central and southeast South Dakota at various times has been dry. Now here in August, we've started catching some rain, so some of those drought conditions are alleviating.
You can read much more in the next AgWeek magazine or at agweek.com. We continue our season-long Follow a Farmer series now with a check-in with Adam Johnson. He farms in west central Minnesota. After a late spring, he says his corn crop caught up nicely, but then it stopped raining. He says rains now will help his corn and soybeans finish the season strong. He says the hot, dry weather has prevented diseases in his fields, but he did see something new. rootworm in his corn. He says he sprayed about 75% of his crop for rootworm.
I think they might have had a little bit of an impact on some of the pollination. Where they were really bad, they were clipping the silks pretty bad, but I'm hoping we got them stopped and killed soon enough so that the majority of the silks got pollinated.
Johnson also grows some small grains, which he says came out okay, despite the hot, dry weather. Coming up on AgWeek TV, we'll take a look at vintage farm equipment and machinery here at Dakota Fest. Seriously?
Hamilton System Inc. in Drayton, North Dakota is the North American distributor of the Fantini corn and sunflower header. Both the L03 corn head and the G03 sunflower head have a simple, high-efficiency, low-maintenance PTO-driven gearbox, which eliminates slippage and power loss even in the most trying conditions. These heads are built with a solid one-piece frame and tubular steel construction that will withstand the harshest field conditions. Available in models from 4 to 18 rows, they adapt to any combine and come with a 4-year warranty on the transmission units.
We grow corn and soybeans in Cass County, Red River Valley, North Dakota. We use AgweekTV nanotechnology to help us get both for better weed kill and to get nutrients into the plant. I definitely see it in plants, in tissue tests, and at first it was really just in the visual response of the plant where you would spray herbicide with one of the products for the iron chlorosis, and you'd have green up within a day or two, which I thought was really amazing. And when you take yellow plants to green, and when you see you had a deficiency you took care of and can use it in the same place, same field the next year we have deficiencies and you don't see it anymore, definitely doing something. We see it in the tissue test that it's keeping the levels up where we want them, or bringing them up to where the range we want to be.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
South Dakota athletes are enjoying new turf surface, and it wouldn't be possible without soybeans. At Dakota State University, a new athletic complex is being built, which means adding new soybean-based turf to the once grass playing fields. Not only is the university excited to have a safer playing surface, but also about supporting farmers.
We're really excited about that and teaming with our agricultural businesses in the area and our producers to have this surface. And so it's a great part of our community.
The soybean-based turf will be used for both the new soccer field and football stadium. It costs about the same as a traditional turf surfaces, but provides environmental benefits as well.
I think the big thing is renewable. Soy turf comes from soybeans. It's renewable. It performs as well or longer than the other products that are out there. It has been proven in the north that the soy-based turf will hold up. And I'm not an athletic director, but I think from what I've understood that injuries and those type of things, there's no difference from performance. And you get the longevity of the product. So to me, it does make sense that if you're putting in a new field that you'd be looking at a soy-based turf product.
The university is also excited to welcome agricultural leaders, producers, businesses to see their new soybean-based athletic complex during their 8th annual Ag Bowl football game on August 31st. Agricultural leaders from a variety of commodity groups across South Dakota and the country met at Dakota Fest in Mitchell to discuss the growth of their industries and policy changes they'd like to see in the upcoming Farm Bill.
With the Farm Bill due to expire this fall, industry leaders are discussing what topics they would like to see included.
At Corn Growers, we're working on a mandatory base acre update for this Farm Bill, which would help to make the Farm Bill more relevant and modern to what actual practices, recent planting practices that are going on across the Midwest. Also looking at what we can do to, enhance and strengthen the Title I program overall.
Well, with the Farm Bill, pork producers generally don't have a whole lot of asks that we do, but the last Farm Bill we started having a few more asks because of the vaccine bank that we wanted to do and trying to get that supplied and things. Well, we've also had ASF throughout the world, not in the U.S. luckily, so we're worried about how our borders are being protected.
But it wasn't all just Farm Bill discussion. Leaders were also able to touch on other industry concerns and successes.
Brazilian beef's been a huge topic as of late. They've been kind of bad actors within the industry. Hope we can highlight some of the things that we've talked to Secretary Vilsack about.
We're seeing it grow throughout the state. This last year has been a little bit of a lull because of building prices and with the COVID supply chain issues and all that type of thing.
Commodity groups coming together to share their insight on the agricultural industry.
Make sure that the producers know where we're at, where we stand, and what we do. And I also think it's very important to collaborate with other organizations that maybe have like-minded ideas and things.
The panel also featured speakers from American Farm Bureau, RCAF, and the American Soybean Association. Vintage tractors were able to relive their glory days at the Antique Tractor Museum here at Dakota Fest. Many tractors make the trek to Mitchell. Dale Steffen, a member of the South Dakota IH Collectors Club, was determined to get his vintage farm machinery to Dakota Fest.
We kind of got a wild hair and left Sunday afternoon and drove them down here. It took us about 2 hours.
But vintage farm equipment wasn't the only machinery on display. Edgar Husman has made a hobby out of making threshing engines and brought many of those along with him to Dakota Fest. He also brought his replica of a 1903 Ford that he restored about 15 years ago.
It's kind of rare, but people do enjoy it. I lead a lot of parades with it.
For those interested in vintage farm machinery, both Steffen and Husman recommend the South Dakota Tractor Museum in Kimball. A Minnesota teenager keeps himself busy rescuing old tractors. 13-year-old Eli Klessig specializes in restoring antique tractors and basically anything with an engine. He says he started tinkering a few years ago on things like lawn tractors, snow blowers, and even weed whackers. Some of his recent jobs include a Farmall M, a Farmall B, and a Farmall C tractor he and his friends were using to haul hay. It's a tractor that he completely rebuilt the engine on. Eli says he likes to pick up old tractors and parts at online or in-person tractors, even on Facebook Marketplace.
On Marketplace, lots of people are really glad to just get them out of the yard or out of the fence line so they don't have to look at the machines anymore, and then I'll put them to good use and rebuild them and then sell them.
Eli's dad lets Eli use his shop and helps Eli haul the tractors to their shop or the new homes. Eli says someday he'd like to put his love of both farming and mechanics to use in his career. He says his favorite tractor that he's owned is an Alice Chalmers 190. He's even helped restore an old school bus. Ahead on AgWeek TV, keeping up on the latest research for soybean growers.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
Since the inception of Vatterstadt, the spirit of innovation has led the company. We push the limits, providing innovative and reliable seeding and tillage solutions that simplify everyday life for farmers. We continue to reimagine the capabilities and technology behind farm machinery, providing customers with a perfect emergence while maximizing their yields. We look forward to growing together.
Meet the new varieties from the Wheat Geeks, who brought you Yield Monsters LCS Trigger and LCS Cannon. Take your yield to new heights with LCS Ascent. LCS Dual packs a 1-2 punch of yield and protein. Speed to harvest first with LCS Boom. LCS Hammer AX is the first coaxium spring wheat available to farmers. Let's talk about this year's harvest and how to make your next one a real bin buster. Visit limagraincerealseeds.com.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
Crary welcomes you back for the second annual Full Pod event. Join us with the Millennial Farmer, Brian of Brian's Farming Videos, Larson Farms, and Tony Fast at Fast Ag Montana.
Come see me, Tony Fast, Fargo, North Dakota at the Crary's Full Pod event, November 30th. For details, go to crary.com/fullpod.
Don't miss Crary's Full Pod event, Thursday, November 30th at the Fargo Holiday Inn. Get your tickets today at crary.com/fullpod.
AgWeek Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Can the region expect a cool down anytime soon? Here's John with our Agri-weather outlook.
North American weather, for the time being, is being dominated by a giant dome of hot, dry air. It's a big high-pressure ridge right in the mid part of the country. It's going to bring a whole lot of hot weather for the next, several days, and probably on toward, at least for some of this, toward the end of August, right in the middle of the United States. Around the periphery of that, there may be some storms, but underneath the strength of that heat dome, things are looking pretty dry. As I said, though, if there's going to be areas that get rain, it'll be around the sides of it, the west side, the south side, perhaps the north side, and maybe even to some extent the east side. And this is a type of weather system that will invite tropical storms and hurricanes to come in from the Gulf and the Atlantic, if any happen to develop. And we're getting into that time of the year where that is becoming increasingly more likely. Tropical systems have been missing from the Atlantic so far this season due to a lot of Saharan dust, and that may continue to be an issue. But getting into that time of the year, though, where hurricanes can still pop up in the Gulf, and we may eventually start see some coming up out of the Atlantic. Never mind, for the time being and for the purposes at hand, the hot dome is this right here. Centered, think Nebraska, Kansas, peripheries of it getting into Iowa, Missouri, down and through Texas, where it's been hot all summer. It's the jet stream being so far north with the ridging right here in the middle that has invited this really hot weather northward. Eastern seaboard continues to be somewhat influenced by this Hudson Bay low pressure area, and in fact there will be some fairly cool weather into New England and the Canadian Maritimes this week, while the central and southern plains bake. Northern plains will have the occasional odd hot day, and then the cold weather will retreat, or the cold weather will surge south again, and we'll get a little bit of a relaxation of the heat. Here in the northern plains, we'll be right on the edge of that hot weather, so we'll mostly get it in bits and pieces. As we head toward the second week of the forecast, which actually carries us into first couple of days of September, still looking hot here in the central plains and to some extent in the northern plains. We're actually getting some freezing or near freezing weather to get fairly persistent up around Hudson Bay. So for this week, that would be the week of August 20th through the 26th. It's going to be dry underneath that heat dome, a little bit of tropical moisture, the usual coastal thunder showers, and perhaps even a tropical disturbance or two will make the Gulf Coast fairly wet. And likely on the northern edge of this heat dome, there will be some thunder showers. There's forecast to be a tropical system hugging the west coast that'll bring some wet weather there. The second week, the monsoon will be on the central Rockies, and the beginnings of the breakdown of that ridge will make the Rockies wet. Stormy weather in the plains will likely be spotty.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable. and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
The Prairie Revolution Ditcher is the new standard for surface water management. The Revolution Ditcher leaves a smooth finished 5-foot flat bottom cut and cuts up to 10 inches in one pass. Throw dirt in either direction, up to 165 feet. Now with the hydraulic cross auger to break up dirt and keep you working faster. Check out the Revolution Ditcher at Prairie.com.
You've worked hard this planting season to get your crops in, with a large investment to match. What happens if they get damaged by hail? Will your NPCI coverage be enough to protect your investment? Martinson Ag can help. We offer hail insurance policies from 5 different companies, so we can find the one that fits your operation best. Don't wait until it's too late. Call the risk management specialists at Martinson Ag today and see how we can help protect your crops and your bottom line. Martinson Ag, the risk management specialists.
Get a jump on next season's crop. Before you put your planter away after the planting season, bring it to the experts at Titan Machinery for a full inspection. Titan Machinery service technicians have the experience and training to inspect your Case IH planter and get it in optimal condition for next season. Get a head start on next season and get the peace of mind that your planter is ready when you store it for the winter. Contact the planter experts at your local Titan Machinery Case IH dealership today.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Staying up to date on current findings and research is important for producers. In this month's Soy Insight, I learned more about a research and information resource for soybean producers. Joining me now to discuss Soybean Research Information Network is Mike Schlosser and Kate Newberg. So Kate, what is it?
Well, it's a website where we house all the information for research projects that are checkoff funded across the whole U.S. So we have about 36 organizations and state soybean offices where we record this information. So it's a great resource for farmers to use for all kinds of reasons. You can get on there and you can find information about pests and diseases. You can look at other states and see what kind of research they're doing and what their benefits and what their results were on projects. So in a nutshell, it's just one place to find all the information about research on this site.
And so Mike, you're a soybean producer. How has this program helped you?
So me as a producer, I guess what I use it for basically is looking up a lot of the agronomic issues that I have trouble finding anywhere else. So whether it's insects, weeds, weed management, even some chemistry.
So how many states does this encompass?
So it encompasses a total of 36 soybean states and regional organizations.
And so Mike, for you being a producer in North Dakota, is it interesting for you to see the research in other states and then apply it to your farm if applicable?
Definitely, because I think in North Dakota we see a lot of things that show up in some of the southern states first. You know, talk about water hemp or a lot of the insects, the disease pressure. We see that down south or to the east of us, and then slowly it does come into North Dakota. So kind of gives us a heads up on what is coming so we can kind of prepare ahead of time.
So Kate, where can producers find out more about Soybean Research Information Network?
You can find us in a few places. Our website is soybeanresearchinfo.com, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, thank you, Mike and Kate, for joining us today. The Soybean Research and Information Network is funded through soybean checkoff dollars. Still ahead on AgweekTV, Dakota Fest gets a cool down with the SDSU Ice Cream Social.
why I ultimately choose them is they handled everything from the site prep, the dirt work, the gravel. The electricians were all excellent, and they're very knowledgeable in the dryer setups themselves. They made sure that they designed me a system that was expandable years into the future. It was a long-term encompassing project, and that's what I appreciate about their knowledge. I'm Ethan Hansen from Blanchard, North Dakota, and I would definitely recommend Advanced Grain for all your grain storage handling needs.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
You've worked hard this planting season to get your crops in, with a large investment to match. What happens if they get damaged by hail? Will your NPCI coverage be enough to protect your investment? Martinson Ag can help. We offer hail insurance policies from 5 different companies, so we can find the one that fits your operation best. Don't wait until it's too late. Call the risk management specialists at Martinson Ag today and see how we can help protect your crops and your bottom line. Martinson Ag, the risk management specialists.
Tanks, sprayers, nurse trailers, fertilizer equipment, and parts. That's just some of what we do at Ag Spray Equipment and have done for over 50 years. We take pride in being the industry leader in liquid handling equipment, and we encourage you to reach out to your local Ag Spray Equipment location in Fargo to see our complete lineup of offerings. We stand behind our products because we stand for you, the farmer. Ag Spray Equipment, north of Fargo on I-29, exit 69, or online at agspray.com.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
A popular event at Dakota Fest this year is South Dakota State University's Ice Cream Social. Dakota Fest attendees got a chance to cool down from the summer heat while having a tasty treat that was created right on SDSU's campus.
So one of the big events at the SDSU Extension tent is our Ice Cream Social. Every day, all day, we have great specialists and field staff on hand to answer all kinds of questions, but the highlight seems to be the ice cream. Lots of people show up for that deal, especially for the cookies and cream, developed at SDSU back in the day, so the ice cream special really takes the edge off of that heat that we're having out here today.
Cookies and cream was developed in 1979. Stories you'll only see on AgWeek.com and in AgWeek magazine this week. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum said on the campaign trail that Summit Pipeline will get approved in North Dakota, despite the State Public Service Commission denying its first attempt for a permit. And sugar beet pre-pile harvesting has kicked off in Minnesota and North Dakota. We appreciate you watching AgWeek TV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.